I'm Jo Kelly, and I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the sport of kayaking. And the type of kayaking that I do is recreational. My level of injury is L2, and I'm actually, I have spina bifida. I did not have a traumatic injury. And I got into kayaking about 7 years ago. And I was at a friend's place in Pender Island, BC, and they had one of these types of kayaks, and they asked me if I wanted to try it. And I was a little bit nervous because I didn't like the idea of falling, as I have done before when I've been in a canoe. But he explained to me that this type of kayak is a lot more sturdy in the water. It's not meant to be flipping around in. So I gave it a try and I loved it. I fell in love with it and I've been doing it ever since. It's a fabulous sport. It's very liberating. I love being able to leave my wheelchair on the land and just take off without it and away you go. Safety-wise, I always go kayaking with an able-bodied friend. I don't find personally that this is something I can do independently, mostly because I can't transport the kayak. I can't put it on my vehicle by myself. So unfortunately, it's not something I do independently, but I have lots of able-bodied friends, so that's okay. It's better to do it with someone. I see a lot of people kayaking on their own, and I personally don't think that's the best way to go about it. I think it is better to do it with someone, as any water sport, you know, is better when you're not alone. Safety first, obviously you always want to have a life jacket. And it's a good idea to carry a bailer just in case you do tip a little bit and get some water in your boat. So the nice thing about a kayak is that they do have these little holds that you can carry your stuff in. Although this one is behind you, so sometimes it's a bit challenging to get at, but at least you're not leaving it on the shore. So I find getting into them is easier from land than doing it in the water. You can do it in the water and just go right off the pier. The problem with that is that unless you've got someone in the water holding that boat steady, you're already on the water, and if you lean on one side too far, then you're just going to tip it over. So I find it easier to get in from the land. So what I do is just pull up right beside the kayak, put my brakes on. So if you're like me and you do need your cushion to sit on at all times, I do use my roho. What I have to do is once I get into the kayak, then I let the air out of it and I just keep it really, really low. Ultimately, a 1-inch profile cushion would be the best thing, but this is all I have. So just toss that in there. Now I've seen people get in kayaks different ways, but the way I do it is by putting my feet in first, except that my foot is stuck. There we go. Now if you could just steady the boat on that side so that it's not moving too much, that would be great. And then you're in.
Life jacket.
Okay. I'll just push that back away. Your chair stays on land. You better make sure nobody steals it. And then you put your life jacket on. So now you need to just give me a shove into the water.
You need a paddle first?
And I need a paddle, yeah. Thank you. That's great.
Okay. These are pretty light, huh?
So, one of the things you'll notice about touring kayaks, this is a lake kayak, or also known as a touring kayak, is that some are going to be sturdier than others. It depends on what kind of a hull they have as to how steady they are. This one I would put in around a 6 out of 10, I think. It's not the sturdiest one I've ever been in, but it's also not the tippiest I've ever been in. If you wipe out in one of these, there's no need to panic. You've got a good life jacket on. And generally you're going to be with someone. So you just have to kind of get hauled back to shore. My longest trip was about 3.5 hours out on Lake Kootenay. We were in Nelson and went out and had a great old time out on that lake one day. Haven't done any overnight trips yet, but that's coming. One of my dreams is to kayak under the midnight sun up in the Athabasca.